Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and welcome to Command Power, the show in which we discuss all things Magic the Gathering with a focus on Commander. And today we have another episode in our Spoiler Spotlight series in which I talk about, well, spoilers and tell you what my thoughts are on them. But before that, just a quick reminder to click subscribe if you enjoy my videos. We're well on our way to 1 million subscribers and your support means everything to me. And today we're going to be talking about Call Forth the Tempest. For 5 colors and 3 red, it's a sorcery with cascade, which of course means you're going to reveal the top card of your library until you reveal something that costs less than 8, and then you're going to play it for free. You're going to get to do that twice, and then it says Call Forth the Tempest deals damage to each creature your opponents control equal to the total mana value of other spells you've cast this turn. Wow, this is a really fun card. Incredibly swingy, but with huge potential. It's exactly the kind of thing that I'm into in Commander. So obviously the best case scenario for this is a one-sided board wipe that advances your board quite significantly. That is amazing for 8 mana. Getting 2 huge permanents in play or getting to resolve 2 huge spells and wiping all of your opponent's boards is the nuts, and you should probably win the game in short order after that. However, that is not always going to happen due to the nature and randomness inherent in Magic the Gathering and in the top of library. You could just as easily cascade into 2 spells that cost only 2 mana each and just deal 4 damage to all of your opponent's creatures, which is still decent but might not even be enough to wipe the board. And at that point, you're not getting that much value out of this. So this is going to depend significantly on whether your deck is able to manipulate the top of its library or whether you're going to be playing high mana value stuff. If you are, then this is going to be very powerful, particularly if you're playing a deck in which you get to discount that stuff and pay it for cheap, but the printed mana value on the card is high. That's where I think this is going to shine most. We've talked about a few cards that work in those kind of decks in the last few weeks, and this one seems like it fits that kind of bill perfectly, because if you're playing a deck full of, say, affinity creatures that are pretty expensive to cast face up but end up costing you much less, you can still reap the benefits by playing them for cheap, but when this cascades into them, they're going to deal the full damage to your opponents. The other cool thing about this card is that it doesn't only count the 2 spells that you've cascaded into, it counts any spell you've played before it in the turn. Now normally that's not going to come up too much because it does cost 8 mana, but if you're in the ultra late game and you have so much mana and you play a couple of things before this and then play this, it's less likely that it whiffs, and it becomes that much better if you get to do it like that. I think this is a very high risk, high reward card. It's probably not going to break the competitive meta of Commander, but it's certainly going to be a fun card in more casual situations. I'm going to be putting this into all sorts of decks as long as it's cheap to buy, and I don't think it will be very expensive. It's just the kind of card that attracts me so much because it's going to have all these amazing stories attached to it. There's going to be times where you just hit perfectly, get a huge swing, wipe all of your opponent's creatures, and you feel great. But if there's also going to be times where you just whiff completely, but they're going to be equally hilarious if you can take them in good humor and just have fun and don't worry too much about whether you win or lose. That for me is the essence of the cascade mechanic. I even made a video which I will link where I talked about cascade and analyzed it. I love the mechanic, but it does have its pitfalls, and one of them is that it's very random, which can be good or bad. So there you have it. Those have been my thoughts on this new spoiler. What do you think about this card? Please let me know in the comment section below. I read all comments and respond to all of them too. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click like or subscribe. It really helps the channel. And until next time, take care. Woo!